What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another Star Wars The Vintage Collection market update. And I know that most of you do not collect graded vintage collection, but for whatever reason, as of the making of this video, a bunch of different graded TVC all sold here in the last couple of days. So I've got a lot of graded in this video. I'll make it up to those of you that do not like graded vintage collection with another video fairly soon. I try to do a TVC video once a week, but I'll make it up to you. I'll try to do more than one this week, since a lot of the items I'm going to cover in today's video are graded. And there was also another SDCC Death Star playset, or Death Star kind of box set that sold, and some other really nice TVC 1.0 that were ungraded that we're going to go through. Some Canadian examples as well. So I just appreciate everyone watching the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. I try to cover prices for vintage figures as well as for the TVC, all kinds of different lines, comic books, and I just tried to provide that service to folks that are looking to add to their collection and want to get a better idea of what prices look like. So as you can see by the thumbnail, there are a lot of different recent release graded AFA TVC that I wanted to cover because some of the prices were really surprising at the upper end of the scale, although, to be fair, a lot of them were very high grade, like AFA 9.5s, uncirculated, things like that. So, without further ado, let's dig in. The first one is a Darth Vader name pill VC13. I feel like we cover these pretty much every video, and I think because the market and sellers are starting to see these be fairly popular with collectors right now, that a lot more of them are being listed. This was the US card, and it was unpunched as well. So again, the Darth Vader name pill unpunched is a little easier to find apparently than the Anakin Skywalker name pill unpunched. Punched are about the same, I guess, but Darth Vader name pills unpunched are certainly very desirable. This one sold for $200 free shipping, which is below some of the other recent sales. We've kind of seen $225, even $250. I've seen as high as $300. This one, unfortunately, did have a small blister ding on the stem, as you can see there. It's very minor, but you can see there very clearly it does have a ding on there, so that held the price down. And I think the seller appropriately discounted it for that very, very minor ding. It's probably like an 85 grade, even with that ding. But the rest of the card was gorgeous, US card, unpunched. So $200 shipped for that one. This is a rare one. I don't know if I've seen this one before. This is the Anakin Skywalker name pill Canadian card. And I'm sure there's been others that have sold recently on eBay. Maybe I just missed them. But this is a Canadian card back for the VC13. It did have some edge wear, as you can see at the top of the card. So by no means perfect, but these Canadian cards, as a reminder, only one of these was manufactured for every 10 US releases. So, and that's a broad generalization just based on conversations I've had with folks that know a lot more than I do about the vintage collection. But this is the Canadian example. You can see the Canadian multi-language age up there. That's the first way to spot it. And then the second way to spot it is on the back of the card. It's got a very, multi-language kind of big black bar that kind of goes through the middle of it. I don't know how else to explain it, but that multi-language kind of warning there that goes through the middle of the back of the card back with the multi-language on the back. That's usually how you spot the Canadian cards. And obviously it says made in Canada, Quebec. So anyway, this one did sell over in the UK for £250, which is 310 US dollars. So that just shows you the big price premium that folks are willing to pay, because if this had been a US card punched Anakin name pill, I'd say easily a third of that price, maybe somewhere in that ballpark at best. So, the Canadian cards are very, very desirable, and I've got a few other examples coming up. Kit Fisto on the US card, unpunched, another one that seems to be dropping in price a little bit, although this one did have some light edge wear, which held the price down. 140 to 150 seems to be about the going rate right now for a near mint minus condition, near mint plus maybe. I've seen as high as 250 for an unpunched US card Kit Fisto in near mint plus primo condition. But this one obviously had some edge wear and then that little tiny crease, so that held the price down. $103.51 plus $10 shipping on that one in an auction, 16 bids that closed on May 22nd. Next up was a beautiful example of the US release for Jango Fett unpunched card. Really good shape overall. I'm not sure if this barcode price sticker is on the back of the card or if it's in the star case. Hard to tell. It looks like it is on the card. So This is the European release because it's got that big black sticker that goes across the back of it. So it's not the U.S. card. I mean, it is the U.S. card, but the European releases took the U.S. card and then slapped stickers on the front in the upper left and upper right. This one's missing the sticker in the upper left, it looks like, or it's a modified sticker that has some writing on the sticker. So sometimes they're all black, sometimes they have some writing on there, and then the all black sticker in the upper right hand corner on the front, but the back very clearly has that big warning sticker that was distributed for the European release. So again, that sticker, that little white kind of barcode sticker, that is on the card, unfortunately, but that didn't stop this one from selling. The blister was in great shape, really pretty example. 190 pounds, which is 235 US dollars. I think without that sticker on there, you might get closer to 300 US dollars for that one, but maybe I'm wrong. You know, it's just hard to tell what the vintage collection is doing these days with prices, as you'll see for some of the graded examples that were coming up here in a little while. The ATRT driver VC46, this was a very nice example. US card unpunched. That one sold for $100. That one is down as well. This one had kind of creeped up into the 125, even 150 range, but it's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But $100 plus $10 shipping on the ATRT driver. I really like that card back for some reason. There's something about that, the actual card art on that one just looks really great. So $100 for that one. Barris Offie is another one we haven't talked about in a while. The original issue, not the Clone Wars kind of animated style card back that was released here recently, that I think was either a Target or Walmart exclusive. This one sold for $110. So this is the Attack of the Clones US card. Really great shape overall, maybe minor edge wear below the proof of purchase on the back of the card. But that VC51 Barris Offie did sell for $110 shipped. I've got a bunch of different examples for the Princess Leia VC64 slave outfit. This was a punched example. That was the Revenge of the Jedi with the offer paperwork inside the blister. So this one is missing the offer sticker on the front of the card. So either that or it was taken off. It looks like it could have been taken off. If you look at the Jabba's throne there on the front of the card, there is a little white dot. So potentially the offer sticker was removed by somebody, but very light edge wear to it. So not perfect, but a pretty good shape overall. But this is the Revenge of the Jedi retail release, not the SDCC release that came in that Death Star box set that we're going to show at the end of this video. This one was listed for $300 US dollars, free shipping. It sold for $250 US dollars. So here's a very rare one, though, that you do not see come up often. This is the Revenge of the Jedi multi-language name pill, unpunched Canadian card back. So really nice. And this one, again, does not have, I don't think, let's see here. This one does not have the offer paperwork inside. So I'm assuming that this one came in like an alternate SDCC Death Star box set that was released for Canada with multi-language on there, but it's an unpunched example. Beautiful. I cannot believe that there's many of these floating around. The Canadian card, Revenge of the Jedi, multi-language name pill VC64 with no paperwork inside. I just can't believe there's a lot of them out there. This one sold for 250 pounds, which is 310 US dollars. It was by no means perfect. It did have a little ding there above the age on the top left corner, but still, very tough variant to find for VC64. And again, it sold for 310 US dollars or 250 pounds. Here was a graded example, Revenge of the Jedi VC64 AFA 9.0 gold label. And this one is the SDCC version without the paperwork inside with no offer. Unpunched, beautiful example, $570 plus $16 shipping. And while that price seems completely crazy, that's actually way down. We saw one that sold last year that Jeff's Collectible Empire had that sold for over either $800 or $900. So this one has come back down to earth a little bit, just like all collectibles in the Star Wars world. But this one was an AFA 9.0 Revenge logo unpunched example for $570 plus $16 shipping. Here was an AFA 9.0 uncirculated original issue VC100 Star Killer Vader's Apprentice. This one did have the Darth Maul offer as it's noted on the AFA label. That one sold for $400 plus $19 shipping. So that's a big number there. But again, it's uncirculated for an early TVC 1.0. Star Killer is obviously very popular. And to get that one uncirculated 9.0, that's going to be, it's pretty much impossible to do now unless somebody's got some sealed Hasbro shipper boxes sitting in their garage from when these were originally released. So Not many of these out there, uncirculated 9.0, and that's going to be the running theme as we dig into some of these other graded items, is that uncirculated means big money if they're high grade, because even these modern brand new releases fetch some very, very high prices. So KE Toys, again, we've talked about this seller in the past. He or she had some amazing uncirculated recent release TVC. The first being Cal Kestis, uncirculated 9.25 on the modern scale, gold label. Beautiful example. Not a figure I'm particularly interested in. I didn't play the Jedi Survivor game. I've kind of gotten out of video games, unfortunately, just no time. This is when I used to spend the time that I used to spend playing video games, I now spend it making these stupid videos that you guys watch. So you guys have saved me from spending money on video games nowadays. But this 9.25 uncirculated Cal Kestis sold for $97.69 plus $10.45 shipping. So let's call that about, a little under $110 for a very recent release. And this is probably the most reasonable of all the ones we're going to look at. Here was an uncirculated 9.0 Boba Fett, no chest plate sensors. This was actually a second one that was fairly reasonable. $81.82 plus $10.45 shipping on that one. That's about the lowest price I've seen for the no chest sensor Boba Fett, the very first release before they made a running change to fix that. But an uncirculated 9.0, that's a pretty good deal. $81 plus $10 shipping. ARC Trooper Echo 9.25 uncirculated. That one also was a good deal, $77 plus $10 shipping. So it's interesting because some of these went really cheap, and then some of the others that we're going to cover here in a second went really high. One last one, I believe, is Captain Rex. This is another one that's not fairly popular with collectors, it seems, although I really like it. This is one of my favorite card backs. But the market has spoken, and this Captain Rex just does not command big money on the secondary market after being graded. So VC 182, that one sold for $82. Now we're going to start digging into some of the ones that went for a lot of money. This one, uncirculated 9.0, Target exclusive droid C3PO. This is one that we've seen very regularly, either UKG, AFA, or CAS graded, that has not gone over $100 ever. And this one sold for $155.50, so that's a big number. That's way higher than where this one had been selling. But that's an awfully pretty card back. All of these are the R2-D2, the C3PO, and the Boba Fett. They're some of my favorite releases just because of the card art. That card art is pretty incredible. And that one sold again for $155. The Mandalorian, this is where we start digging into some big boy prices. It was an uncirculated 9.5. That is very, very tough to do with AFA. Just speaking from experience, they do not hand out 9.5s very easily. It's got to basically be almost a perfect item. And that one sold for $227.50, which, if this had been an uncirculated 9.0, I bet it sells for less than half that price, maybe $100 total. So $227.50 for an uncirculated 9.5 Mandalorian Beskar armor. And wow, that's a big, big price. The Luke Skywalker, here's another recent release that went for big money. This is the Imperial Light Cruiser Luke Skywalker. Pretty awesome card art on that one. The figure, again, is just kind of a reissue, but that card art is pretty awesome. This was a 9.25 uncirculated, and it sold for $243.50. So people have really been waiting for some of these bulk submission sellers to relist or to start listing this one, apparently, because it sold for way more than I expected. I was expecting that one to go for maybe half that price, $125, somewhere in that ballpark. So $243.50 on that one. This is a 9.25 uncirculated carbonized Walmart exclusive Mandalorian. Very tough to get this one in an uncirculated designation, obviously, because someone had to have gotten their hands on a whole shipper case of these Walmart exclusives. So not many of these floating around is my guess. That one sold for $160.50 plus $10 shipping. Next up was an uncirculated 9.5 Ahsoka Mandalore. So this one is, again, a very high grade, and the price reflected that. It sold for $246.50. So, this is another one that collectors seem to kind of turn their back on in lower grades. But once you hit that 9.5 grade, it's going to bring some of the very discerning collectors out of the woodwork, so to speak. $246.50 on that one. Next up was the Death Watch Mandalorian. I was shocked by this sales price. $310 for an uncirculated 9.5 Death Watch Mandalorian. That's as good as it gets, though, in terms of the grade. AFA 9.5. But that really sold for quite a bit more money than I expected. Then finally, I believe second to last, I guess, is the Revenge of the Jedi Death Star SDCC exclusive collection box set. That one sold in an auction for $1,950 plus $35 shipping. So almost $2,000 on that one. We've seen as high as $2,500 on this one. So the box was not in that great a shape, but it looked like all of the the carded figures inside were in pretty impeccable condition. And wow, what a big number. About $2,000 took home that SDCC Revenge of the Jedi set. And I wanted to show you this one to finish things off. This is that Black Series 40th Anniversary Boba Fett that was graded uncirculated 9.5. Very tough to get these oversized card backs in a very high grade like this. And the price was pretty shocking. It sold for $313. But I have to admit, I'm not really into collecting the Black Series these days, but this one certainly presents nicely and harkens back to the Kenner card back for the Return of the Jedi release of Boba Fett with a 9.5 uncirculated, $313 on that one. So big prices. I know that's not vintage collection, but I wanted to show it since it was still in this batch of auctions that sold here recently of graded TVC. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.